Welcome to God and Man. I'm your host Sam, and thanks for joining me. Now, on today's episode, I'm going to be talking about social media. What's the great things about it, and what are the negatives about social media? So let's just jump right into it with the good things. Start them off nice and easy before you get into the hard stuff. So, social media, what's so good? Well, I think the very obvious thing is that you can stay in touch with people over long distances, old friends and old acquaintances as well you can keep in touch with. You don't have to lose touch with them anymore. Because of social media, you can keep up to date with what people's lives are like. You don't necessarily have loads of people that you want to keep in touch with all the time, right? But they're people you still call your friends. And so social media allows you to actually keep in touch and still somewhat be involved in their life and be able to reach out to them if ever they needed help or to congratulate them on big things that happen in life. So there's something really cool and really lovely about that side of social media. It also allows you to share your opinions and thoughts with people all over the world, that we can take ideas and thoughts from people all over the globe and we can engage with them. I think particularly as a Christian, it allows you to share the gospel across the globe. Obviously, there's language barriers for some places and even cultural barriers as well. It actually provides a medium which we can put out the gospel and allow people to interact with it. The other thing that comes to mind in terms of its global connectivity is keeping up to date with live events throughout the world. Current wars, plagues, famines, any sort of events that are going on, both good and bad, elections and whatnot. It allows us to keep in touch with what's going on in the world. And particularly, again, as a Christian, to be able to pray for those things. Pray for our brothers and sisters that are in and amongst the events of the world. There's many great things about social media in all of that are really good. I think particularly the aspect of being able to share the gospel across the globe is a big reason why I wanted to do these podcasts, actually. Imagine if many more Christians produced content online at the amount that people make TikTok videos, right? Like, it's actually quite wild that people will lap up and consume so much just nonsense content. Imagine if Christians put out just something, their own daily Bible reading, they just kind of turned on the camera and just recorded something, a minute or two. Like they do with these silly TikTok videos, right? Like, imagine if Christians did that. We just have this much broader reach to people who possibly wouldn't engage with the Bible as much, if at all, in their life. So I think there's some really great opportunities when it comes to sharing the gospel with social media. But here's the thing, is I think it's a double-edged sword. It's a dangerous place, social media. It's a dangerous tool. I've got three things here, or maybe technically four, but there are three things I want to talk about which make social media a bad thing. So it's highly sexualized content. Makes social media a dangerous place, particularly if that is sin that you struggle with, right? Nudity gets more likes. The more nude, the more likes. That's social media. That's the game that's played. Advertisement, it's the game they play. Sex sells. It's been a common, understood principle of advertisement for years that sex sells. And it's no different for social media. There's a saying that if it's free, then you're the product, right? You won't have to pay to use social media. And if that's the case, then you're the one being sold to the advertisement companies. And I think that they use sex to sell products. Even aside from advertisement, just people's content they put out online. If people want the likes and the fame on social media, what do? You get your gear off. It's sad, but it's true. And that can be quite dangerous. But both for the people who engage with the content and the people who want to have popularity online, which I'll talk about soon. But the second thing I've got listed here is mental health, right? I think it's pretty common knowledge that mental health has taken a decline over the years as people have increased their use of social media. that even though it's connected people around the globe, we're more isolated than we've ever been before. And that somehow we've thought that social media can be a replacement for having genuine friends, for spending time with people in person. And it's not. It's not. It's left people heartbroken, sad, lonely, depressed, anxious. And it's not good. Again, this is a danger of social media. It's a danger. So the third thing I have here that's kind of a third/fourth thing is pride and hypocrisy. So when I'm talking about pride, it's that self-centeredness of social media, that it's about my profile, my popularity, my life. That's what social media is there for. You get on and you're posting and it's, well, oh, who's liked my stuff or who's replied to my stuff, right? It's about me. And if you're not someone to put a lot of content online, but to indulge in it, again, the pride in that is, what can I look at to satisfy me? It's about me, not about anyone else. And the other thing, though, is people say like, oh, well, it doesn't matter what I put out. It doesn't matter what I do or say. It doesn't matter because it doesn't affect them. But collectively, if people will choose to engage with a certain type of content, it becomes more popular and it sells. It makes money. And if there's money, there's going to be someone going for it. There's always going to be someone willing to do something for the money. Now, I should caveat that as well with, you can't draw that bow too long, right? So people could say you shouldn't have money, you shouldn't drive a car, you shouldn't do any of these things, because eventually it comes back to some sort of company that probably does something shady, under table deals sort of thing. So you can't be involved in anything. And it's like, well, how complicit are you in sins that are 3 times removed from you? Right? You're not. But you got to think about it. And I think particularly with social media and what sort of content you choose to engage with, you can get complicit in that by liking it, sharing it, making it popular. So yes, I think that's a very selfish thing. And we don't really think of it as that, but I think it really is. The other thing is hypocrisy, which is probably quite closely tied to pride here, is that we only share the good parts of our lives. So the content we put online, it's only ever the good stuff. It's only ever the stuff that people like, they want, they desire, things that will make us liked by people. That's what we put online. You don't put the hard stuff. Or if you do put the hard stuff, it's to show that, oh, look at me, I'm going through hard times, please have pity for me. Or look how I've got through these hard times, I'll come out the other side, how strong am I, right? When we present that version of ourselves, it's never really the true version of ourselves. It's not the real us. It's only ever the version we want people to see. And so we need to remember that both ways, that when we post things online, are we only presenting the things we want people to see, or are we presenting us as we really are? Christians are people who advocate for the truth. Jesus is the truth, the way, and the life. We can't be people who present one version of ourselves online and live a completely different life offline. They need to match up. Otherwise, we become hypocrites. And no one likes a hypocrite. No one listens to a hypocrite. And so what principles should we have as we approach social media? Right? What principles? Well, I think a good one here is, don't say something online if you wouldn't say it in person. When we put bits in the mouths of horses to make them obey us, we can turn the whole animal. Or take ships as an example. Although they are so large and driven by strong winds, they are steered by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot wants to go. Likewise, the tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark. The tongue is also a fire, a world of evil among the parts of the body. It corrupts the whole body, sets the whole course of one's life on fire. It is itself set on fire by hell. See, the tongue is a powerful, small part of our body. it can do great damage to ourselves and to others. And so we need to be careful what we say. If we say things online, it should be something we're prepared to say to someone's face in person. And I don't say this as someone who's like squeaky clean at engaging online. I've definitely had some bad interactions with people online, fault of my own and maybe fault of others as well. It's quite true that we need to be careful what we say online and how we engage with others. The other thing is that people don't really know that you care about them, right? So particularly if you're engaging with strangers online, that they don't know that if you care for them or not. That they might think that you don't care at all. You just want to be right. And if we're honest with ourselves, sometimes we do just like to be right. We do just like to win an argument. But it's better to be gracious, gentle, and humble when we engage with people online. Don't assume the worst until people actually say something. I've found myself actually agreeing with quite a lot of people. Well, not a lot of people, but I've found myself agreeing on some issues with people when at first it seemed like we disagreed. All it took was asking some questions. And tied up in here as well is I think Christians should engage more online. Like we step away from it and we go, oh, no, we shouldn't because it's not personal and we can't get to know them. And well, I'm sorry, but our whole world is online. They're choosing to engage in this media. If we choose to step away from it or not, we're choosing to step away from a lot of people in the world who this is the form in which they engage in public disagreement. Paul goes to Areopagus, right? That was where everyone was gathered to hear the new thoughts. These days, the new thoughts are put out online. That is the new medium. And so this is maybe what I should have said at the start here. Social media, it's a medium through which we engage with something, we communicate through. It's called social media because it's meant to be a way in which we socially interact through a medium. I think that's what ties into the mental health issue, right? Is that we think that a medium can produce social interactions. And it can, but not the kind that we actually genuinely need as people. And so a written letter, for example, is a medium through which someone communicates. It's an old-fashioned one, but it's a medium. And so our world engages with thoughts and stuff online. That is the new medium. That is the medium of this day. A lot of the early church fathers wrote extensive letters, extensive books. That was their medium that they engaged with and used. We're in the modern era. We engage online. And so I want to encourage Christians to be engaging in conversation online, but to be gracious, gentle, and humble as you do it. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about was if it doesn't help you to love God, then you should probably cut it off, particularly in the context of social media. So this is what it says in Matthew 5, verse 27. It says this, "You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out, throw it away. It's better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off, throw it away. It's better for you to lose one part of your body than your whole body to go into hell." Now, I didn't mean for this episode to talk about hell so much, but those two passages just happen to do it, which is possibly quite a helpful coincidence as we think about how we engage with people and what we say. But particularly here, I want to point out that Jesus is saying that not that we should physically dismember ourselves so that we can't sin. There's other passages that speak about, it's in Galatians, where they're thinking they can control the body, whip the body into shape and make it do what you want it to do so that it doesn't sin anymore. And Paul speaks against that, right? So Jesus here isn't saying that you should dismember yourself, but it's a hyperbole, right? That if something in life, a temptation, is continually causing you to sin, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And so with social media, with the highly sexualized nature of it, the temptation it is to pride and hypocrisy that it is, you need to reflect, would it be better for you to just get rid of social media? In the past, I've gotten rid of many. I got rid of Snapchat. I got rid of Insta. I now use it vaguely these days, but yeah, I don't use Insta too much. but definitely got rid of Snapchat. That was unhelpful. And I think like one or two others. I still have Facebook, but again, not used super frequent. And so you need to reflect and ask yourself, do I need to cut some of these things out of my life? Do I need to cut some of these things out? And so going back over those principles, don't say something online that you wouldn't say to someone in person. People don't know that you care unless you get to know them. Be gracious, be gentle, and be humble as you engage with people. And then lastly, you need to ask yourself, does it help you love God? And if not, you should probably cut it off. Well, thanks for listening to this episode. On the next episode, we're going to be talking about wisdom. Where do you find it? How do you get it? We all want to be wiser, right? Particularly thinking about knowledge of the past, reading, old literature, things like that. And then also your previous experiences, how things in your life help you gain wisdom and be wiser, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about in the next and final episode for this season, episode 5. For now, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode of God and Man.